What is up, everybody? It's Rob from Bullies. So, wanted to talk about on today's topic when it comes to breeding and producing, especially for your program. And a breeder's point of view, is it harder to breed a foundation male, or is it harder to breed a foundation female for your program and when you're producing? So, and yeah, I'll tell you my inside point of view, my thoughts, and yeah, I'll put these guys up and do a sit down talk. So just give me a minute. So yeah, my thoughts on, is it harder to produce foundational females or is it harder to produce foundational males? Of course, everyone has their own opinions, but this is my opinions and my experience and my research of quite a few years of study and investigating and looking a lot of stuff up. So my opinion is it is harder to produce a foundational female. The reason for that is because it is a lot harder to get that bully feature and desired look between the big body mass, the thickness, clean structure, nice size headpiece on a big headpiece, big neck, clean fronts, yeah, short back, clean rear, and everything. To me, it is harder to pull off that bully desired look on a female than it is more for the male. It's almost like it comes more natural to pop out on a male. So I think it is harder to try to, when breeding, producing a foundational female. That's why when you have A1 females, you got to, really think and make the best pick and thought process of what you need in your program, because not only is it just size, structure comes involved, and when you're doing your breeding, it all starts out with looking at your female that you want to breed and what would you fix on her. You're basically looking at what can I improve on my female. And then you have to see what male is going to help you out in those desired features and traits on what you're trying to improve on. What are you trying to better on your dog? If you got a male and you're looking at him and you plan on picking and breeding him, you have to look at the female of what's going to give me that look that I need to change on my male. Shortening them up, shortening the back, dropping a few inches, shortening the snout, longer in the snout on a shorter muzzle. Does that male already have the headpiece that you're just hoping that it's gonna transfer on through the genes and genetics? Because your male can have a giant head, but your female can have a smaller head, and that female also, another reason I feel it's harder to produce a foundational female. And when you do get it, it's when the puppies are made, the puppies are going to favor the mom more. Now, I don't know the science between all that, but supposedly the mom's genes and traits are going to overpower that male. So you're only getting so much of that male. So that's another thing for you got to keep in the back of your mind. You're not going to get that amazing badass studs feature 100%. You're only going to get a little piece of it, and that little piece, the mom's genes and genetics are going to overpower, and the puppies are going to have more of the mom's features than the dad's features, that male's features, or sire, and dam, however you want to put it. It's all the same. Just different way of wording. But yeah, and another thing is flaws. The one thing we hate, sorry, I'm sweating, I'm hot, I'm trying to stay in the shade, but it's a hot one. I finally started cooking again today. I got most of my cleaning and dogs done. Now I gotta wait for later on. It will definitely be a pool and water day, even later, I can tell, to get them back out again. But so I don't get off topic. Where was I at now? See, I knew it. The minute my mind starts going, I start fading away from the main thing I was talking about. Oh yeah, flaws. The flaws. Where does it come from? Why does it pop up? My opinion, my thoughts. It comes from this guy right here. The English Bulldog. That's if you got the shorter style bullies. The Bulldog trait is going to end up being more into the micro, more into the pocket class. If you go in some standard class, but most of the Bulldogs that have been used, because it's not just Old English. It's not just the English Bulldog. It's also other Bulldogs, like Bull Mastiff and Amstaff and all that stuff, and the taller XLs and some of the standard class and XL class. They use the bigger Bulldogs, but the shorter profile is what I'm talking about. Is files into him, and the reason I say that's where it comes from, because when you look up and down and all around when it comes to that dog, they have Easty Westies sometimes on their paws and weak pastures. They have the underbite, and that pops out. They have some of them have the high rear because they got the shorter fronts and the taller rears, so that kicks up high rear. Their features am I looking at that can create flaws on that. Kink tails, if you look, Bulldogs, their tails aren't straight, so tails come involved. Underbite, high rear, Easty Westy feet. Trying to think what else. I would say probably breathing too. Breathing traits of to me, it's a flaw. It's not a desired look flaw, but it's a flaw to me because it makes it where the heat, they don't do the greatest in the heat. Overworked, I think, yeah, because they can't breathe the greatest and proper. You see it more in the exotic bullies, a lot more. Some pockets, but it really all depends on what genes, genetics, and bloodline, on how hard that bully feature, the English Bulldog feature, throws in the bully, American Bully. It's part of it. It's part. You can't get away from it. You can keep breeding to try to better it, but it's hard to wean it out 100% because that genes from the Bulldog will pop up and appear. You can take two perfect dogs, no flaws, breed them because they have that trait and genes and genetics inside them. That Bulldog feature is going to pop out, and the pups once in a while. That's why it's very hard to get a flawless 100% litter. This litter, for instance, Blue is going to probably go for the cheapest out of all of them. All the rest, I'm not seeing any flaws that pop up besides Blue. Blue does have one flaw, and that is an overbite. She has an overbite a little bit, and that's from me examining all the puppies. Like I said, that's how I examine all my pups. I look for flaws. I look for, anything that will make a pup cheaper than the rest. That's how I do my business. I'm not going to sell, top quality foundation and show and no flaw dogs for a price. When a dog does have a flaw, it will make that dog cheaper out of that litter. So you have top notch, and then you have, ones, she's the only one, so she will be the cheapest out of this litter on Blue. The rest of her is phenomenal. You can't even tell by looking at her, but once you open her mouth, and when she has a bite, it's not a straight scissor bite, it's a little bit, yeah, over. So, and that's just, yeah, I don't have nothing to hide. I'm not that type of guy. I don't do business that way. I don't keep secrets. That's just, yeah, who I am, open, honest. If people wonder why that pup is cheaper, when I do announce it, I don't have the pricing yet. DNA testing's out, along with health testing, and waiting on once they get it. They did tell me it's going to be 5 more days once they get their hands on it. I don't know how long it's going to take until they get their hands on it, because I couldn't FedEx it and I couldn't make it fast. So, weed eater, I thought it was a giant bug, and I was like, man, that cicada's huge. Yeah, so that was the topic today of what I wanted to talk about. Was, yeah, basically where the flaws come from in the American bully, why it happens, why it shows, why it pops up, and why it's so hard not to have it pop up, you know, a few times throughout breeding and litters and running a program. And I wanted to talk about, is it harder to breed foundational females versus foundational males, on my opinion. So, till next time, God bless. Keep the bulls on a short leash. Take care of them. Yeah. And until next time, later.